For Mzansi, we champion indigenous foods. There's definitely a need for conversations around that as well, but we're not here for that. For those of you who just tuned in or trickled in, we're having a conversation about food security in the country, the status of food security, looking at what has happened over the past year, policy changes, the impact of natural disasters on the status of food security, and what you as a farmer or consumer should know about what and how the status of South Africa's food security impacts you. Kiyama, I think there was someone who was saying early on, Kiyama, she couldn't hear you properly. I figured it out. If I mute on my side, we are able to hear we are able to hear our guests much clearer, so I think I'll do that going forward. My next question, obviously COVID-19 has had a big impact on not just our economy, but also consumers' ability to afford food. What are your researchers saying? How has that shifted over the past year, 2 years? Are we seeing positive shifts? Are people back in the stores? What does that look like?
Before I respond to that, allow me just to reflect on this traumatic period in our human existence that has left scars of which we will remain with us for decades to come. We continue to remember those that perished through this pandemic, and some of which their livelihoods were eroded by the pandemic, and therefore their families really struggling. It really was a time we really wish it will never happen again. But in terms of our sector, you will recall that when we were hit by this pandemic, as a sector, among others, the cabinet took a very pronounced decision to classify agriculture as an essential service. That played a very significant role in ensuring that we continue to do that which we do, ensuring food availability for the country. And we were very resilient through that period. Our sector made a positive contribution to our GDP while others were declining. And also a few of the programs we introduced, like your safety nets, if you might call them that, to really cushion the most vulnerable households to the impact of this pandemic, like your COVID-19 relief fund we ran as a department, and you look at your presidential employment stimulus initiatives also. That really played a positive role in trying to assist in this regard. And this is not my view. This is the view shared by researchers, as you're asking what are they saying us. This is the view shared by a number of commentators in the sector. And they even go as further to say, if we did not introduce these programs, we could have seen food-related riots in the country, which we were able to avert because of these interventions. Of course, notwithstanding what happened during 2021 in some parts of KZN and Gauteng, which of course were not really food-related riots, but we all know what triggered those. I won't go into that. So our researchers then inform us that we have built resilience, and we have built an agile sector, even through the worst possible storms. And we take pride on that. However, challenges remain, as you're saying. The food affordability in the country is still a challenge. The food inflation, as we saw recently, hence the prominence on the topic of food security today is because of that. So a number of households are still experiencing food insecurity across the country. This is evident from the general household surveys that is conducted by State SA. It also reflects on the national survey that I referenced earlier. And when we launch the result of that survey, we will definitely extend the invitation to Food For Mzansi and, of course, other media houses to reflect on our findings, because it's the first of its kind, as I said, in the country, and we really drilled deep at the household level what's happening there.